All right, 49ers fans, last night and this morning has not started off very well. I just wanted to do a quick podcast on Reuben Foster and the situation that took place, the 49ers' response to said situation, what this means for our football team moving forward, but also just taking a step back and realizing how we got to this point and where we should go from here. So right off the bat, I want to start off with the police report that was released, and we will go from there. Now, again, I'll have a regular 49ers Rush podcast later on after the game today, but I wanted to deal with this on a separate issue, partly just so I could enjoy the game today. But here is a quote. This is reading straight off of the police report. It says, Tampa Bay police officers responded to the Grand Hyatt Hotel to investigate a domestic violence call shortly after 9 p.m. on November 24th. Reuben Foster and the female victim were involved in a verbal altercation. The victim stated that during the altercation, Foster slapped her phone out of her hand, pushed her in the chest, and slapped her with an open hand on the right side of her face. Officers observed a 1-inch scratch on the victim's left collarbone. During the investigation, officers learned that Foster and the victim lived together in the past, and they were involved in an on-again, off-again relationship over the past 3 years. Foster was charged with 1 count of first-degree misdemeanor domestic violence and booked into the Hillsborough County Jail. So that is the end of the police report that was filed. Now, couple things. One, Kyle Shanahan came out last week, challenged his players and said, act and behave in a way that makes us want you to be a part of this team moving forward. It's very, very clear that this is not what Reuben Foster has done. If we step back to what has happened in Reuben Foster's past, it's not good. And you can say, well, there's a lot of what ifs, and there's a lot of contingencies, and there's a lot of, hey, yeah, buts. I get that. But here is the issue. You had the marijuana charge in Alabama where marijuana is illegal there. You can't have that. It's a banned substance in the NFL. That's one. 2, the assault rifle in his house, things that are illegal in California. That's 2. 3, the domestic violence accusations with his ex-girlfriend, and she came out in court and said she made it all up. That's 3. And, he got through all of that with a 2-game warning suspension from the league, and the 49ers were on par with it, and they told him, if you hit anybody, you're not going to be a part of this team. If you put your hands on a woman, you're not going to be a part of this team. John Lynch came out and said that. Kyle Shanahan basically said the exact same thing, and here we are. And this is where it gets really dark and maybe depressing, very, very sad. The person that is accusing him and called the cops on him is the same woman as before. And, I don't want to go off onto, what I think happened or didn't happen. What we do know is that he was with the same woman that attempted to already ruin his career. He's back with her again. And so love is an interesting thing. I get that. But to make the decision in the team hotel 12 hours before kickoff says a lot about who you are as a person and where you are not. And where he is not is being a good teammate and trying to build the team and build himself into a professional. He's not a professional. I get he's only 24 years old, whatever. Don't care. These are the decisions of somebody that just is not – they don't have what's best for themselves in mind, they don't have what's best for their significant other in mind, and they don't have what's best for the team in mind. And all 3 of those things, this is where this leads. So the 49ers responded very, very quickly, and they released him. And this is where I want to focus most of my energy. I'm very proud to say that I am a San Francisco 49er football fan today. I have a 10-year-old son that watches all the 49ers games with me, and he can recite almost the entire roster and where people went to college and who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. And for the longest time, if you go back to last year for my birthday, my wife said, what do you want? I was like, I want a Reuben Foster jersey for me and my son. This was way before everything happened. Planning ahead and all those things. Then all the information came out, and I told her, you know what, time out, take that away. I played Mike linebacker all through high school. That's kind of was my position, so I love, I have the Bowman, I have the Patrick Willis, I have those jerseys, and I wanted to continue that. I told her, the very first accusations, never mind. I don't want my son wearing something like that if this is what this guy stands for. And my son understands what happened in the previous case with, did he hit somebody, did he not? And my son asked me the question repeatedly whenever I bring up a football player, is he a good guy or not? And I think that's important from just a society standpoint. And, I'm going to have a conversation with my son about why Reuben Foster's not on the team anymore. And my son's going to understand when the Cowboys or the Raiders or the Seattle Seahawks or the Cincinnati Bengals or the Patriots, those are the 5 teams that come to mind, are going to sign this kid. Reuben Foster's going to play again in the NFL. He might be out for a full year. He might be out for a year and a half. It doesn't matter. He will get us a third chance. I would call this his 5th chance. But I'm very thankful that my team that I support with my dollars and my time and through my podcast and all these things is a team that does not reward this and takes a positive stand, not only about winning football games. Don't get me wrong, I want to win football games. But we're not one of the teams that have, quote-unquote, sold our soul. We are in the forefront, and if you want to go back to the Colin Kaepernick and standing up for people that maybe aren't being stood up for, all those things, like our franchise has been at the forefront of this, and I'm not saying we're perfect. That's not what I'm saying at all. However, today whenever my son puts on his 49ers jersey and I put on mine, I am able to wear that with pride and root for our team, even though we are in dead last of the standings and we have the first overall draft pick as of now. It doesn't matter. And the fact that we are playing against somebody like Jameis Winston makes it even more fitting to be proud to be a 49ers fan. And so that's basically all that I want to talk about. I don't want to get into the draft and all that kind of stuff. That'll be later today. But I just wanted to take time apart and just say I wish the best for Reuben Foster moving forward. I hope that he gets his life straight and can live in a situation where he is not hurting other people and hurting himself. However, I don't think that this is a person who should ever take a snap in the NFL, ever going forward. And you could say, oh, well, let's wait till everything comes out. Maybe she made up this again. That's fine. The fact that he made the decision to bring this woman into the team hotel again just shows that he will constantly put himself in very toxic situations that will not benefit him, and not benefit the team, or not benefit whichever woman that he chooses to bring in. It's not a healthy environment. So with all that being said, faithful then, faithful now, very proud to be a 49ers fan today. Best of luck to Reuben Foster, and hopefully he gets the help he needs to live a healthy life and doesn't bring more pain to others. Thanks, guys. We'll be back with a regular, traditional podcast after the game today. Go Niners.